Hi, I'm Jim Shirley, and I'm going to talk today about turning ideas into information products fast. So let me just start off with a little bit about information products. The idea here is that you can make money selling what you know, but you have to put that knowledge into a format that's easy for people to buy and consume. What kind of formats are easy to sell and easy for people to consume? First, I want to talk about what's not easy to consume. So, for example, consulting is something that is not real easy to buy, and it's not real easy to sell, and it's not super easy to consume. So that's why it's generally very expensive, right? It's one-on-one interaction with someone. It's usually in person, but if it's not in person, then it involves a lot of one-on-one type communication on the phone or on video conferences and that kind of thing. Consulting tends to be private to one company at a time and involve certain people. So that comes with multiple sort of, won't say like consequences. I do consulting as well. It's just when we think about information products and the sort of way that we can monetize them and make money from them. I just want to kind of distinguish between those and what they're not. So consulting just tends to be something that's difficult to share across multiple companies or share very broadly with a large audience at once. So information products, on the other hand, are very easy to sell and consume. They take the format of books, whether that's physical books or digital. Can take the format of audio, like podcasts or recordings, like I'm doing right now for an audio recording. Can be seminars or can be recorded teleseminars that you hold on the phone. And then finally, there's video. So as in training videos, tutorials, hangouts like we're doing right now. So those are different ways that we can take ideas and turn them into information products, written products, audio, video. Now, before you think, okay, those are just the techniques, what I really want to get into today are some of the ways that, from my experience of creating dozens of products, the ways that I've been able to really speed up the process of taking my ideas, turning them into things I can sell. And I want to share those secrets with you because, certainly if you just go out and start making audio recordings, that would be a great thing to do. I just think that, if you continue to listen, you'll learn some things from my own experience that you'll be able to take and kind of avoid some pitfalls and save yourself some time and potential. So now, information products, they're recorded, they're saved, they're on your hard drive, they're on YouTube, they're on SoundCloud or iTunes, and that's a great thing, right? So that's what makes them so easy to sell and so easy to share with other people. And that's why making money from information products is so lucrative and is something that I highly recommend, especially when you kind of compare it to, if you've got information to share and can show people how to do stuff, that one-on-one consulting can be lucrative, but it's different in that you can only kind of do it one-on-one. And information products are something where you can create it once. I can make this Google Hangout right now, or I can record an audio or write an ebook. And after I've done it once, it's really done, and I can go out and I can sell it from now to eternity, especially if the information is something that is evergreen and can be shared for a long time. So that's important. Okay, so with that all in mind, let's go into my ideas for creating quick information products you can sell online. So I want to start out with the written products that I mentioned. I like to call this the kind of instruction manual. And I'm going to start with something I've discovered recently when I'm creating these written products. And that is that I have discovered several benefits from sort of chunking it down into pieces, and I'm going to explain why and what these benefits are here in a minute. I also want to point out I've done several other trainings about products. In fact, I'm in the process of creating a product creation blueprint masterclass, and I am just doing a Google Hangout as exploring one way to create products. I've created audios, created written products, and some of those are for sale, some of those are being offered as free products. We'll kind of get into my whole strategy here in a minute, but when I talk about these ideas that I'm sharing with you today, I'm kind of glossing over some stuff I've taught in these other courses. So, if you want to go to yourinternetlifestyle.com, you can sign up to get the free course that I have that goes through some of the fundamentals of product creation and kind of goes through that whole process of how I take an idea to an outline and turn it into a product from there. So some of that stuff I'll be glossing over a little bit today, just for the sake of creating a new training here that doesn't have a lot of duplication with other stuff I've been teaching on. Now, when it comes to written products, and we think about this instruction manual, what happens is I get an idea. I want to make a product creation masterclass like I'm doing right now. Well, it could take me 200 pages to cover all the information I would want to cover, to share all my experiences and what I've learned and really kind of give somebody something comprehensive that they could use. And at this stage in my career and what I'm doing, I don't have the time or the bandwidth really to sit down and write those 200 pages. Now, you may be in a similar situation for a variety of reasons. This is something that 2, 3, 4 years ago I would have done. I would have sat down and just pounded out the book and got it done. But my life's different now, and I don't have the ability to do that anymore. And so that is part of it. And then part of it is over these years, I've discovered that there's different ways that I can be more efficient and more business-like and have more of a system in place that I can use when I'm creating any kind of product. And that just helps, that helps me be more profitable, and it helps me make sure I'm always on the right track when I'm creating products and that kind of thing. So now, as you may know, if you've seen any of my other trainings, that I recommend doing a brainstorm on your niche and having some outlines in place. I'm definitely big on outlining. Not the kind of outlining you did in English class in high school or that kind of thing. It's really more just formalizing. It's really what I like to call a lesson plan. Formalizing what it is you want to teach, so that people really have a clear understanding when they come into your training what it is they're going to get. So there's all sorts of different aspects to creating products and creating information products. My approach is going to be different than your approach, and it's going to be unique. So I just find that I got to have my lesson plan there to make sure that I'm not sort of going off on tangents, that I'm really sticking to what it is I want to teach. And then that way people who come into my sales funnel are getting exactly what they came in expecting to get. So that's important. Okay, so here's the thing that I've been doing. So, I'm doing this product creation masterclass. I've got this concept. Now, what I do when I'm working on the written product, what I did weeks ago when I was first starting on this, is I sit down, and this is what I recommend for you too. I chunk up the project into small pieces, and that's maybe not a new concept to you. That may be something that you've heard in sales classes or other kind of project approaches. I do it for some really good reasons, and it's not just because of the breaking it up into pieces makes it easier. I do it for some strategic business reasons as well. So the first chunk, though, the first phase, is taking my topic and creating 12 10, 8, 14, whatever the number is, bullet points about the topics. So I'm doing a product creation masterclass. I've got topics like how to figure out how to find ideas for information products, how to create information products fast, ideas for taking or ways to take ideas and turn them into information products, kind of like we're talking about today. Those are just a couple of the points, but I've got all these different things on this bulleted list, and I call it a one-pager because generally speaking, I don't like to go off the one page. And that is the very beginning of my written book on this product creation masterclass. That's what I would recommend for you too, is you create a bulleted list and it's just a one-pager. And then what I do, now basically what happens next is after I've got this thing done, I kind of formalize it and make it look a little nicer, and then I'll send it to my email list, or I'll share it on a forum, or both. And it's basically just kind of a goodwill, here are some ideas that, and so this tells you what my bullet points might say. So it's not just jotting down my thoughts as they come to my head. I do formalize these into sentences that are instructional in nature, and so they're kind of the what to do. And so if you're thinking about creating information products as a really broad topic, you're going to have these steps, like you've got to have ideas. Here's where you find ideas. You've got to take those ideas and turn them into pieces that are going to make up the lessons in your course. You've got to figure out what ways you're going to deliver this information. So that's kind of what these bullet points are. And so just this one pager by itself is informational, and it's useful to somebody who's thinking about creating products. Now, I'm not going to be able to sell that. It's just a one pager and it's pretty high level. But what I can do, like I said, is I can go share it and kind of create some goodwill out there and some good karma. And then I can have something done. Kind of what happens here, and I'll be getting into this a little more here in a few minutes, is I have created this goodwill, but I've also kind of created a feedback loop that I can use to get more information from people out there who are interested in creating information products. So now, somebody might ask me a question about it, or someone who's good at creating products or has some experience with it might point out that I've missed something. And that's good information. I want to know that. And you can see that, by taking this approach, and I'm going to be saying this over and over again over the next few minutes as we go through this, I have opened up this feedback loop very early in the process, instead of waiting until the product is completely polished and it's 200 pages and I've delivered it to the marketplace. So that's an important theme here. Now, what's going to happen is just over the next week, 2 weeks in this timeline, I've got my bullet list. I'm going to block some more time, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my bulleted list, my one pager, and I'm going to go in and create a couple of paragraphs. I'm just going to write a couple of paragraphs underneath each one of those bullets just to expand on. And so by now, and then of course I'm going to incorporate any sort of feedback that I've gotten over that time into my bullet list. And so all I'm doing is just sort of broadening it out from a one-page bulleted list. Now maybe it ends up being 6 or 8 pages, right? I just added a couple of paragraphs underneath each bullet point. At this stage, what I'm going to do is just wrap it up. Again, I'm going to kind of formalize it. It's a new file in my hard drive. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go create a squeeze page, which is just a page on the internet on one of my websites. And I'm going to start building an email list with this 6 to 8 page document. And I'm going to call it a giveaway. It's a gift. And so it's one step up from that gift that I created, the one pager, in that at 6 to 8 pages, it's got a little more value. So now it's gone from, here's what to do, it's gone into a little bit more depth. It's kind of taken that next level step. And I might put a nicer cover on it, and that kind of thing. And then what I'll do is I'll create this squeeze page, and I'll go out and I'll say, now if you would like to, get this free gift, join my email list, and it's going to talk about product creation. So now you'll kind of see what I'm doing here, and then I may start driving some traffic to that squeeze page. Whether I pay for that traffic or start sending it from forums or that kind of thing. But really, what's going to happen now is I'm going to start to build a list of email subscribers who are coming into my my email list in a specific campaign, and this campaign is very just tailored toward product creation. But ultimately, they're going to be getting some good information from me. I'm going to be building a little bit of a relationship. I'll set up a series of 10, 15, 21 emails that'll go out over the course of time. And and those are all side projects away from writing my my big manual here. But what's happening is, again, I'm putting another sort of feedback loop out there where I can get some feedback on what I've done. It's going to incorporate all the stuff that I know up to that point, right? It's still pretty short. This isn't the 200-page manual I was thinking about originally. But what I'm going to be doing is building an audience that's interested in this topic, and I'm going to have their email addresses so that I can ask them questions and I can get feedback. And then I'm also going to, when we get to the next stage and I make my first for-sale product out of this, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. That'll be phase 3. I'm going to have a list of people who I can launch this first for-sale product to. So that's kind of the concept so far. So we've gone from a checklist in phase 1 in building goodwill to a 6 to 8 page giveaway. Now we're building an email list in phase 2. Now this is kind of fitting into my schedule. So, as you can see, I'm not in a huge rush here to get this big manual written. Instead, what I'm doing is I know I want to create this product creation masterclass. I know I want to make it. It's an evergreen subject. It's something that's not going to go away or really change significantly in the next several years. So there's no reason for me to feel like I need to create this whole big book in 2 weeks or a month or 3 months. I can spread this out over 6 months if I want. And by doing so, I can actually incorporate some real-time feedback into the process. And I can start building an audience of people that I can launch this thing to when I'm ready. So that will help significantly when the whole thing comes out, because I'll have people to sell it to who are already sort of warmed up to what I'm talking about. Now, what's going to happen next in phase 3 is, this is typically what I do. So let's say with my product blueprint, my product masterclass, I've got 8 bullet points. Well, 4 of those may be the main subjects, and they may be the most important things. And so instead of really kind of going in phase 3 and just flushing out every bullet point and really writing, another couple thousand, 5,000 words under each one of those topics, and really sort of sharing my experience and sharing everything I want to teach, I'll maybe just pick 4 or 5 or 3, whatever it is, and I will really vet those out and just dig into them and do that, 3, 5, 6,000 words, really get deep into them and share everything I want to share just on those 3 topics. And then essentially what I'll do is I'll just kind of cut those out and call that my first product. And so this may be a low-end product, right? I mean, this may be $9, $11, $17, whatever. It just depends on the value and what I'm sharing. But again, I'm not done with the whole book, but this is just going to be phase 3. And at this point, really what I'm doing is creating my first for-sale piece out of it. Now, with this, I'm going to launch it to my email list and share it with them. they're going to be the first buyers. They're going to be the ones that get the best discount and the early bird pricing and that kind of thing. And then I'm going to be asking them to, maybe share it on social media or that sort of thing to help give me a little more leverage in terms of marketing, leverage their social contacts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back. So, I mean, that's really phase 3. So at this point, every buyer now is going to also be coming into this email funnel. So, I've still got the giveaway out there. I haven't taken that down. But now buyers are going to be coming in on this product, and they're automatically going to get added into my email autoresponder in maybe the same campaign. And, they're going to continue to get more information from me over time. And then what's going to happen is I'm just going to kind of move into phase 4, which is really just fleshing out the other remaining bullet points. So let's say it's 4 more. And then what I've got is the opportunity here to do a couple of things. Number one, so let's say I finish it all out and I've got a 85-page book and I'm happy with it, and that's really what I'm going to write. And that covers all 8 bullet points that I started with. Well, I'm going to formalize it into a book, but what I can do, since I broke it up and just talked about, those 3 bullet points or those 4 bullet points and sold that as a product, well, what I can do is go back to all the buyers there and say, I've got an updated version for you, and you can get it free. I can go back to them and say, here is volume 2. And so I could really sort of position it from a marketing standpoint as volume 1, volume 2. And so I've got those options. And then, of course, now that the whole thing is written and I'm at phase 4 and it's 6 months later, then I'm going to just sell the whole big product as one thing. And I'll probably keep the mini product out there as kind of a downsell, if you will. That is, okay, if the price, my $97 price or whatever on the masterclass is too much, try out this, $27, covering the most important points. So, I still want to give people an alternative opportunity to buy, and I still want to leverage that as a product, that first product. So, I hope that makes sense to you. And then, of course, I'm going to keep my giveaway out there as well as just an entry point for people who are looking for more information on product creation. Now, of course, through my email funnel, I'm going to have a series of emails that are going to build up to selling the products that I have for sale, right? The masterclass, for example. And that'll probably come first. But now you can see that what's happened here is I've gone with an idea, and instead of wrapping myself up in a room and locking the door and spending 2 or 3 hours a day writing out this 85, 120, 200-page manual, whatever the number is, and just churning it out like I used to do. Now what I do is I spread it out and I break it up into chunks, and this isn't just chunking to make it easier for me to write the whole thing. It's chunking with a purpose, because now what I can do is, build goodwill, start building an email list early, so I've got an audience to launch the product to, sell sort of a first phase product, and then sell the whole product. And so I've kind of got, 4 phases there, and they all help me make a better overall system for this information product, something that gives me feedback along the way, something that helps me build an audience along the way. And, that ultimately is, I think, when you're doing written products, the way you want to go, rather than, kind of having the idea that you need to write out the whole 150-page book at one time. So that's the written product idea. Now, I want to, one of the ideas I have here that I'm sharing with you kind of relates to these written products, and that is that we can also cross-sell other products. So, I've done a lot of recordings and videos, and I've done a number of written ebooks and presentations and that sort of thing. And over time, what's going to happen is you do that. So, selling information products, selling information for a living, you really have to have a library of stuff to really start, making any kind of money. And what's going to happen, what you're going to discover as you teach over time, is that every time you do a different class, you're going to have this overlap. Or even when you're doing lessons within the same class, you're going to have these overlapping subjects where you're teaching on one subject, but you may need to talk about something that you've talked about in the past. And so kind of getting back to, think of it like the whole consulting gig. My problem with consulting, now I do it sometimes, so don't get me wrong, but my problem with consulting is that it's one-on-one. I often can't record it, for privacy and security reasons and that sort of thing. And so what happens is I go from client to client to client, or you go to client to client to client, and you teach the same things over and over again. Well, when in this second thing that I want to talk to you about, cross-selling, is after you do enough information products, you are going to have a small library of stuff you've taught in the past, and it's going to be recorded, whether that's audio, video, or written. And so when I sit down to do this product master class, there's a couple of subjects that I'm inevitably needing to talk about that I've talked about in the past, and I've got recordings on it. And so when I go back to that bullet point list, that one pager I talked about before, and I look on there and I see a subject like how to come up with ideas for information products, well, I've taught on that in some other classes, and I've actually got a whole course that covers it. So instead of rewriting that, and instead of reinventing the wheel or doing a new recording just because I'm creating a new class, what I'll do when I start writing or when I make an audio recording is I'll just reference this other product that I've already got, and I'll send people to the sales page for it. Maybe I'll send them to a special sales page where they get a discount, if they're in this new funnel. But the point is, don't recreate stuff over and over again. Don't share the same lessons over and over again. Record them once and then leverage. So that's where cross-selling comes in, and I tend to do it mostly with my own products. But alternatively, if you don't have a lot of your own products, or even if you do, if there's some lessons or some trainings or something out there that somebody else created, and they have an affiliate program, well, why not send people to that training, especially if it's something that you believe in and you think would add value. So of course there's a little bit of a control problem there, like you may be sort of giving up a subscriber to somebody else's sales funnel and that sort of thing. But if the information is right, then and you're doing the right thing and you're sharing good information, then I've never seen a problem with sending somebody to sending somebody through an affiliate link to buy a different product that somebody else created, especially if it's really good. So that's what I would recommend doing. If you know of something you could recommend. So that's cross-selling. Now let me just go down here, because the next thing I want to talk about, this next idea for taking your ideas and turning them into information products, is to record audios. And so you may laugh a little bit at that, because in some ways it sounds a little outdated, but let me tell you, it's not. And you're watching this, I'm doing this as a Google Hangout right now, but I'll probably strip the audio from this and turn it into an audio as well. And that's because what I've discovered is, and I use this personally, I know a lot of people who do the same thing, but people commute on trains, people go to the gym and work out, people sit on the couch at night and they're kind of over watching TV, or they don't subscribe to any TV cable packages anymore, like so many people don't. People sit at work all day and in their cubicle, and you know what they do? Often they can't watch videos in a lot of these places. You can't watch a video usually when you're at the gym. You can't watch a video on your phone. You can't, usually when you're riding the commuter train, watch a video, over the internet. I do believe that day is coming, and for some people that's already happened, but it's not mainstream. Audio, on the other hand, you think about the tens of millions of people who subscribe to podcasts on iTunes. It's huge and it's easy, and that's why people do it. People like listening to music, but they also like education. People want to continually grow themselves and learn. And so what I find is that I create these audios, and I love it because as a product creator, I've got all this information in my head. The slowest way for me to communicate that information is to write. The fastest way for me to communicate the information is to speak. And so, all I have to do, I grab my, my Yeti microphone, and I grab an outline, and I basically just hit record, and I basically create a recording on whatever it is I want to teach. And it's totally easy for people to consume, and that's what it's all about. And really, the perception is that an audio, and this is how I typically sell it. I'll sell a book, and then for a little more money, I'll sell the book plus the audio. And sometimes those audios are just me reading what's in the book. And then sometimes the audios are completely different lessons, because I didn't write anything. But audio adds a premium element, and it lets you charge more for your information products. So I would highly encourage you to do audio. It's really fast, and the benefit over video is that obviously it's less bandwidth for people to consume on their internet and stuff like that, which makes it easy to take to the gym or with them on the train when they're commuting and stuff. But for you, the product creator, it's nice because people don't have to see you. So you're doing an audio, you may just look on your computer and get some bullet points. Now, I don't have a problem doing that on video, but some people do, and I get that. I don't do that on every video, but this is less formal. With audio, nobody can see you. Nobody can see whether you wrote your notes or they have bad handwriting, or that you're wearing a hat today because your hair's a mess, or whatever. Audio is great for that. So now I would say that, and I love it because it's so fast. Now you think about, okay, how on earth am I going to create an audio? Well, you can really bounce back to that initial concept I talked about, which was that one-pager bulleted list. I do believe, whether you're doing video, whether you're doing audio, you need a script or at least an outline to talk from so that you don't go all over the place. And inevitably, it's going to happen a little bit anyway. But I like to kind of leverage my content. Like I said, if I've written, then I like to make an audio of it so that I can upsell. I like to make some videos from it so that I can sell that for even more. And so, that's quite important. And then, kind of the next thing I would talk about is another form of audio, and that is teleseminars. So now you really may be laughing because, who on earth still does teleseminars? But I do, and a lot of people do. And you know what? People join them. People get on the phone. People like teleseminars because they're pretty easy to join. But for you as a product creator, I want to suggest teleseminars as an idea here because, I had a teacher who once told me, and this was a teacher in information marketing, pardon me, and they said, often what happens is, there you are, you've got all this cool information in your head. You've really got some things you could teach the world. You could show some people how to do stuff. But you're not quite sure how to share that information. And, even though I'm telling you, hey, create an outline, even though, you may be able to go buy a couple of books or get some at the library or whatever that, give you a step-by-step method for, how to go from point A to point B, creating a product. It may just not click for you. And this guy told me that you've got all this information in your head. It's the questions that you're missing. And I think that was a real sort of epiphany for me, because it's so true. And that completely turned my product creation on its head from then on, because really what I discovered is, all I need to do whenever I need ideas for products, all I need to do when I'm not sure what to talk about next, when I'm on my teleseminars, is go out there and look for the questions that people are asking. Now this is deeper than just seeing what it would work, but this is deeper than just going into the Google key planner tool and seeing what search terms people are writing into the search engine, and calling those questions. No, this is deeper. I mean, this is really like, so this is why I like teleseminars, is that, okay, you make your outline. Let's say you can talk 20 minutes about a subject, because that's really your comfort level. That's really where you feel like you can go right now on a subject. What you do is you make this a free teleseminar, go post it on a couple of forums that you've got a free teleseminar at this time, on this day, next week, whatever, and then invite these people. And sometimes people won't even come, but that's okay. But over time, you'll get an audience. You'll get a couple of people. And what you can do after your 20 minutes of speaking is you can open it up for questions. And people will ask you questions, and then you can share your information. And that's when all this information you've got can gel around the real situation, the real problems that people have. And sometimes it's so hard to put yourself in other people's shoes who you're trying to teach and really figure out where they're struggling and what challenges they have. And you really can't until you get them on the phone or you get in front of them and they tell you. And so teleseminars are great for that. And here's why teleseminars are also good, is because they're very low cost, if not free. I still to this day use freeconferencing.com, and like the name says, it's totally free. I think you can have like 1,000 people join your call. They just get a dial-in number and a dial-in code, and I do too. And I can go in there and I can hit *9 and just record my calls. And I record every call. And that's because it goes back to that leverage thing I was talking about, where it's like, I hate communicating the same thing over and over again. And inevitably you get the same, you're going to have these overlapping topics. Well, I can do these teleseminars and I can cover these topics, and then I've got a recording of it that I can use in a product, or I can sell as a product. So that's great, and it's easy. And you know what? The first time, the first series of teleseminars I did, they were free. I think I did 14 in a row that were free, and out of that 14, I deleted 2 because I didn't like them and I didn't think they went that well. Some of those teleseminars had no attendees, and some had several. And I got questions in some of the teleseminars, and sometimes people didn't speak up at all. But I got a lot better at it, and I learned a lot from it. And I have, sitting on my hard drive, 12 recordings that I've used in all sorts of different products. So I highly recommend that you get on teleseminars and start offering them weekly. And that's an easy way to start building your line of products. So now, the last thing that I've got here, and this is what I'm doing right now, is a Google Hangout. So I think, I already mentioned this, but audio is a little easier for the mainstream public to consume. It's easier for people to consume globally. But inevitably, over the next couple of years, video, internet, high bandwidth, fast internet is going to expand around the world. And so more and more people are going to be able to watch video and do like we're doing right now on a Google Hangout and watch this, even though they're on a phone and commuting. And or in their car or wherever, right? So, I think I had to add Google Hangouts here because I'm personally trying to get more familiar with them, learn more about them, get better at it now, because it won't be long before this will sort of take the place of the teleseminar or the podcast, where people really want to see, or they can see the video. So why not share that as well? There are some downsides to video. Certainly, I kind of talked about some of the upsides to audio, where people aren't going to see you. You don't have to be quite as well rehearsed, because when you're on video, whether you're talking head like I am right now, or you're doing a screen capture, if something goes wrong, well, it's kind of costly to stop and start again, right? With a Google Hangout, you really, I could end this and try to go and delete everything, but you know what? The thing is live right now, and some people could see it. The thing's going to be automatically moved over to YouTube, and how do I go delete that? It's real time consuming if I want to stop in the middle. And those are downsides of video, right? Is that I could make a big mistake here, or I could do something goofy, and feel really bad, or feel like I want to take it offline, but I can't really. I can't very easily. Those are downsides to video. So you've got to be a little better rehearsed. You've got to be a little more familiar with being in front of the camera or doing screen captures, so that you can get on and basically do your thing and kind of still look professional. Whereas with audio and writing, you've kind of got that barrier between you and the consumer, where they can't really see behind the curtains. When you're creating all that stuff. So, there's some pros and cons, but inevitably, I think that the world's changing a little bit, and videos, certainly more incorporated into our daily lives, and marketing and internet advertising and that sort of thing. And so, it's important for us to kind of continue to be a part of that and grow with it. So, that's why I'm exploring it, and I don't know if this is exactly the means by which I'll communicate, everything from here on out. Most likely not, but I certainly will be doing, it on occasion, and it works well. It's just like a teleseminar in that people can join very easily. It's all free. It's recorded. I love leverage, like I've mentioned, and the pro to this Hangout is, one of the pros is that it's all being recorded. I didn't really have to do anything except click go. And once I click end, the thing's going to go to my YouTube channel. So that's easy. I don't have to do any, post-processing or editing or uploading or any of that stuff, which is all time consuming, right? The description for the video is all written. And the thing's going to be out there. It's being indexed by Google, and certainly in the future I'll probably explore how I can name these videos that in ways that help people find it who are searching for information on this topic, and hopefully see how that works for growing my audience and that sort of thing. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Let's just do a quick recap here on turning ideas into information products. So what we talked about is the beauty of information products. They're very easy to sell. They're very easy to consume. They're kind of like, think of yourself, if you're creating information products, think of yourself as a musician, right? You create a song, the musician creates a song, and then they put it in an album, and then they put the album on iTunes. If they put it in an album, I guess they can just put the song on iTunes too. Once it's out there, the beauty of these information products is just like those music tracks on iTunes. It's $1.29. That song's out there. It's available forever, right? And so anyone around the world who somehow finds an interest and finds you can buy that song, and you get a royalty from it. Information products are the exact same way. And so, that's what you're doing, is creating these information products. These are some ways to do it. I love them because they're digital and they're easy for people to buy and consume, and you can sell them over and over and over again. through your sales pages, through all the different venues where you can sell. So that's kind of the idea behind information products. The types of products you can create, the ways that you can take your ideas and turn them into products you can sell fast. You can do written products. And if you do written products, I highly recommend going through the 4-phase process that I talked about, where you create the bullet point list in phase 1 and then give that away for goodwill and good karma. In phase 2, you expand on those bullets and turn that 1-pager into an 8-pager and make that your giveaway on a squeeze page and start building a list of email subscribers who are interested in whatever subject you're writing about. Okay, phase 3, we take a few of the bullet points in our list, the most important ones, and we really expand on them and give them some depth, and we turn that into our first for-sale product. And it's really the kind of low-end product, lower price, so that whatever price point you sort of work within. It could be $7, it could be $11, it could be $97. It just depends on your subjects and topics and audience. But now you can go back to the email list you've been building, and you can tell those people, you can basically launch your first product to them. And so you've got buyers right out of the gate. All along, you've been getting feedback from people because you've been communicating what you're doing and sharing it and giving it away. And now you go into phase 4, where you can either finish out those bullet points and call it kind of a volume 2 of the book or part 2, or you can make it all into one book and just kind of give it to your initial buyers. You've got lots of flexibility, but you've kind of got the whole thing done. Now you've spread this out over time, but the benefit is that you've built up an audience that you can launch the final product to. You get to leverage their social networks to help spread the word about your new product, and that's really the way to go. So that's written products. Now let's kind of assume we're going to do some level of writing for any kind of product we create. So we go back to that initial 1-page bullet list. Well, if writing isn't really the direction you're headed in, then you could do some cross-selling of like affiliate products, or you could also cross-sell products you've created previously. And over time, you're going to be building up this whole big list of products you've created. So I highly recommend leveraging what you've done in the past and not reteaching it over and over again every time you create a new course. That's cross-selling. Now, you can also take your outlines and your bullet list and go and create audios. So I really like audios because they're easy to create, they're easy to share. People are consuming them in droves. So there are tens of millions of people listening to podcasts every day. People love and pay premium prices for the audio recordings for your courses and trainings. And that's real experience. That's not just theory. And so audios are great in that respect. And then you can really kind of take it to the next level and also do teleseminars, so that you get yourself on a regular schedule of creating products on a weekly basis, let's say, and sort of interacting with real people who have the problems that you've got solutions to that you're creating products for. So that's kind of important, and you can do that very easily through teleseminars. You don't need a fancy microphone. All you need is a phone to do teleseminars, and you can use something like freeconferencing.com. It's all totally free. You can get on there, record your calls, and invite people to them and get questions, so that you can really sort of formalize your teachings. And that's a great way to create information products fast. Finally, we've got Google Hangouts, just like we're doing now. And I encourage you to explore these. And it's just a wide open territory right now in terms of how we sort of create these or transform these Hangouts into our product funnels and charge for them later. But that's kind of what I'm exploring, and if it's not on Google, then it'll be some other way, but we'll be able to do it. Presently a lot of people are doing webinars, but You know, I like the immediacy and the free aspects of Google Hangouts. So that's why I'm exploring it. So that's that, and I appreciate your joining me today. Hope you got something good out of it, and you know, certainly you know, leave a comment or email me your questions if you have any, and I'll look forward to speaking to you next time. Thanks.